It was a Tuesday. Cool morning, sky still gray. I showed up at the shop at 6:15 like I had for the past 22 years. Clocked in, walked the floor, ran my hand along the same control panel I'd trained half the crew to use. Everything felt normal until my supervisor called me into the office. He didn't look me in the eye. There was someone from HR sitting there, too. They had a folder. I didn't need to see it. I already knew. They said it was restructuring, said the company was shifting direction, said they needed a more modern mindset moving forward. Then came the line that stuck. You've always done good work, but truth is, you're a bit too old school for where we're headed. I nodded, didn't argue, didn't ask for details. Just sat there while they slid a paper across the desk. Exit package, small severance, some generic apology, no thank you, no handshake, no mention of the weekends I stayed late to help new hires get their bearings. No word about the emergency I fixed during the winter freeze 5 years back that kept the entire line from going dark. Just silence. And a cardboard box. I cleared out my locker, took my thermos, my wrench set, and the old photo of my daughter taped behind the door. No one said much. A few guys nodded. One clapped my shoulder. But mostly, they looked down. Like I was already gone. Like I'd never been there at all. I walked out slow. The sun was just coming up. And for the first time in over 2 decades, I didn't know where to go next. The next morning, I still woke up at 4:45. Habit, I guess. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. Didn't turn on the light, just listened to the hum of the fridge down the hall and the faint sound of a truck passing somewhere outside. It felt strange not to reach for my boots. Stranger not to have somewhere I was supposed to be. My daughter called around 9. "How you holding up, Dad?" I told her I was fine, said it like I meant it, but the truth was, I didn't know what to do with my hands. They'd been turning bolts, checking pressure gauges, fixing things, being useful for most of my life. Now they just sat. I walked out to the garage that afternoon, swept the floor, reorganized the tools, not because it needed doing, just because I couldn't sit still. On the workbench was a notebook I used to track repairs at the plant. Dates, parts replaced, side notes and margins. Years of small fixes no one ever noticed, but everything kept running because of them. I flipped through it like it was an old photo album. Friends told me I should fight it. File something, go public, talk to the press, but I didn't. Because it wasn't about pride, it was about place. And for the first time since I was a young man, I didn't have one. They didn't just take my job, they took what I was part of. That quiet rhythm of showing up, doing it right, doing it steady, not flashy, not loud, just dependable. Apparently that wasn't enough anymore. I didn't break down, didn't yell. But that night, I stood in the kitchen with the lights off and asked myself a question I hadn't said out loud in years. If I'm not needed anymore, then what am I? I didn't start over with a plan, didn't map out a comeback. I just started moving. There's a man down the road, Caleb, runs a feed store and small warehouse. One morning I stopped by just to say hello. He looked tired, said his conveyor had been acting up for days. New tech team couldn't figure it out. Everything was backed up. I asked if I could take a look. Didn't bring tools, just borrowed a wrench and a flashlight. 3 hours later, the belt was running again. "What was it?" he asked. "Someone set the timing gear backwards," I said. He blinked. "That's not in the manual." "I know." Word got around. A week later, a neighbor asked if I could help with an irrigation controller. Then someone else needed help wiring a backup generator. No one offered much money. I didn't ask for any. I wasn't doing it to make a living. I was doing it to remember that I could still solve things, still fix, still be useful. Meanwhile, I kept hearing about how things were going at the plant. They'd replaced the old system with a cloud-based platform. Automated everything. Looked good in presentations, but not on the floor. Orders were backing up. Routes were misaligned. Breakdowns were happening, and no one could explain why. The kids they brought in were smart, fast, tech-savvy, but they didn't know the floor, didn't know the sounds a motor makes right before it seizes, didn't know that sometimes the problem isn't in the code, it's in the bolts someone over-tightened 3 years ago. That now won't turn when you need it to. I didn't laugh when I heard they were struggling. Didn't gloat. I just kept showing up where I was needed. Backyards, garages, sheds, machine shops, places where experience still meant something. Where calloused hands didn't scare people. Where doing it the slow way wasn't a problem, so long as it was done right. The call came on a Thursday, private number. I almost didn't answer. "Hey, this is Mark from the plant." "I know who it is," I said. He cleared his throat. Didn't jump into it. Didn't need to. I could already hear the scramble in his voice. "We're having a few issues with the line. I've heard. Could you maybe come in just for a consult? No pressure." I didn't say yes right away. Told him I'd think on it. Took a walk around the yard, cleaned a carburetor, ate lunch. Then I called back. "I'll stop by one afternoon, that's it." When I walked through those double doors again, something shifted. Not in them, in me. No badge, no uniform, just my old boots and a tool pouch I hadn't touched in months. The place looked different. Slicker, shinier, screens everywhere, lights blinking, people moving fast. But behind the blinking, the same old problems were hiding. Pallet scanner misreading loads. Cooling system short-cycling. Routing software freezing when temps dropped below 30. They showed me reports, charts, dashboards, simulations. I asked one question. "Has anyone physically checked the belt tension under Zone 3? They all looked at each other. Blank stares. I walked over, opened the panel. The belt was slipping. Had been for weeks. That one slip caused a cascade through 3 other zones. I fixed it in 15 minutes. Mark came up afterward, quieter now. "You ever think about coming back, even part-time?" I looked him in the eye for the first time in a long time. "I didn't leave. I was pushed out. That's different." He nodded. Didn't argue. "Well, you'd still have a place here." "I already do," I said. "It's just not in your org chart. I didn't take the job. They offered it, part-time, flexible hours, advisory title, even tossed in a signing bonus, but I turned it down. Not out of pride, not revenge. I just didn't need to go back to prove anything. I already had. These days, I spend most of my time in the garage. I fix what folks bring me. Small engines, old tools, the odd piece of farm equipment nobody else knows how to touch. Sometimes they pay me in cash, sometimes in pie or fresh corn, or a handshake and a thank you that sounds like it's been waiting a while. And that's enough. One afternoon, I saw a kid from the plant at the diner. New hire, 20-something. Clean shoes, fresh shirt, eyes tired. He sat across from me without asking. "You the guy who fixed Zone 3? "That's what they tell me." He looked down at his coffee. "They never taught us what to do when the system doesn't match the floor." "They wouldn't," I said. "You've got to feel it. Listen. Pay attention to what isn't blinking." He nodded. Asked if he could stop by sometime. Said he wanted to learn a few things. I told him sure. So long as he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. Sometimes I think about those 22 years. all the time I gave, all the things I kept running that nobody saw. And I'm not bitter, because I know now they couldn't replace me. They tried, but some things can't be copied. Experience, instinct, showing up every single day and doing it right, even when no one's watching. They fired me for being old school. 3 months later, they couldn't run without me. But I wasn't waiting for that moment. I was already building something steadier, quieter, mine. And that's a kind of success no one can take.